Oh no, what have I done?
Sit down. How you been?
Now this is Carbon. The cars, the characters, the gameplay, the visuals, the cop chases, the story, the bosses, and the M3?
Oh God, they trying to drown me in it!
What happened? I honestly think as a child I was more confused about this game than about how to properly eat hard candies without choking on them. But I finally understand. I know how the car system works in this game. I have been enlightened by my rapidly evolving intellect. Basically, there are 38 cars divided into 3 tiers, each tier being better than the previous one, and each tier unlocks after beating a boss. There are muscles, which I don't have, exotics, which I'm not, because I'm boring, and tuners. Now, obviously, muscle cars are good for long straights, because they don't turn, but they go fast. Tuners are good for drifting in canyons, and they are good for events that have lots of corners, which is basically every single one. And exotics are good for, absolutely nothing. I hate exotics in this game. It's insane how bad they are. Definitely not because I'm a terrible driver. No. It's the car's fault. I've yet to figure out when you actually unlock new cars, but I'm guessing that each time you win a certain amount of races, or maybe you conquer a small territory, you unlock one. But it also depends on which boss's territory you're taking, or which boss you're started with. I kinda sorta have no idea, but there are some really good looking cars and there are some bad looking ones too. However, you can make the good ones look bad, and the bad ones look even worse with customization, which is actually really good. Obviously, after Most Wanted, this customization system is a godsend. You have all the features from Most Wanted, but you also have something that's called an autosculpt, which can lead to some really funny outcomes, but god damn, I love this. And you can also create your own wrap.
Now this looks like a job for me.
I'm the monkey!
Goated. Every single one of them. But only because they are incredibly cringy, and for some reason I love cringe, because I have no sense of humor. There are good guys and there are bad guys. Bad guys are obviously the ones who you race against. They are your so-called rivals, and there's 4 of them, one of which is Darius. And then there are good guys like Nikki, who doesn't trust you at first and then later on falls in love with the player. I said the player, not me, because no one falls in love with me. Also, she might not actually fall in love with the player either, but I cannot really read signs.
What?
Then there's Neville. I love him. I love him. Then Sal, Samson, and Yumi. And then there's Cross again. Oh yeah, and Colin. Wow. Driving physics in this game are bad. Or maybe not so bad, but also maybe really bad. It really depends on what car you're driving. Muscles are sliding around all the time. Sure, they accelerate fast, but they turn like boats. Exotics, yeah, they don't do anything. Don't use exotics, or maybe use them, but only tier 3 ones. Tuners, on the other hand, they are insanely good. No car handles the same, at least not that I have seen any that would behave the same as another car. Which in and of itself is actually a good thing, so I don't actually know why I'm complaining. I guess it really depends on what event you're trying to do, which there's quite a few of. There are no drag events. Finally. Drag. Sprints, which is once again the simplest form of racing. You go from point A to point B, blah 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 blah. Circuits, you go in laps, you win if you get first place. Come on, you already knew that. Checkpoints, it's just sprints without opponents. And drifts, let's go! They are insanely janky, but I love them. It's the most fun event type in the game. You basically just slide around, gather points, and win, because you technically cannot lose in this unless you fall off a cliff. Speaking of cliffs, there are canyon events. and I'll talk about canyon duels later. Yeah, and speed traps are back. Thank God. They are good. And they work the exact same way as in Most Wanted. You go through the speed cameras and whoever gets the most points wins. Which is going to be your crew member. Why? Because they rubber band. Really hard. Oh, and I should have already mentioned that there are crew members in the game. Basically, you have to choose 3 of 6 crew members and only one you can actually have by your side when you are doing an event. If your crew member wins the race, so almost always, you also win the race. There are drafters, Nikki and Colin. You press the button and they draft you, which is insanely OP. There are blockers, Neville and Samson. You press the button and they block a racer for you. Sometimes. There are scouts, Yumi and Sal. You press the button and they look for shortcuts on the map. Okay, let's see. What is it that I'm missing here? Stop attacking me!
Follow me on Twitch, twitch.tv/metiMDZ.
You know what? The visuals are fine. They kinda look like to me that they were just yoinked out of Blade Runner, but the piss filter is gone. And instead of everything being yellow, everything is just blue. So I'll hereby deem the name of this filter the Blue Shart filter. Thank you very much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I mean, the map looks great, and you can find many things here just like in Most Wanted, and you can also miss a bunch of things just like in Most Wanted, unless you do free roaming, which is absolutely useless once again. You can start the event from the safe house, you can fast travel to events, you can fast travel to car lots, you can fast travel to safe houses, you can fast travel to another fucking galaxy.
Oh, hell no.
Police! Help! Police!
Come on, Black Box, what have you done? I am beyond frustrated, I am beyond furious, fast, and the cop chases are so bad. They are kinda like a lot worse version of cop chases from Most Wanted. They have no reason to be in the game at all. But why, you might be asking?
I don't know.
Every single inch of my body is refusing to accept that the chases are at least somewhat good in this game and my brain cannot handle this much hatred, therefore I just cannot explain why I hate them, but I do. First of all,
When I came down...
during my playthrough, I have not met a single cop after the interlude until I reached Darius. And when I reached Darius, I got used to not having cops because the game does not even require you to mess with them. And when I got into a chase in Silverton, I just let the police catch me and I happily used up one of my markers because why even bother? They rubber band. They spawn out of nowhere while you are trying to escape. They path towards you when you're trying to escape. It's bad. Let's just move on.
Burger King foot lettuce.
Once upon a time, there was a guy who conquered Rockport. He climbed the leaderboard and became the most wanted street racer in the city and got away from the most fearless of police officers to arrive in Parliament and do whatever the living hell he was doing there. I don't know. I kinda don't remember anything about the story. I know that before the player went to Rockport, he was in Parliament and the bad guys, aka Darius and his team, set him up with a bag of cash that they stole from him. I don't even know what's going on, nor do I really care. The game is like 4 hours long anyway. But I know that as you progress through the game and meet new characters, these new characters are telling you bits of the story, and at the end, you put it together like you just gained consciousness. Like me when I was 3 years old. Basically, Nikki throws you a bag full of money, but instead of money it contains parking tickets, and you leave Parliament to go to Rockport being poor and stuff. But what happened to the bag of money? Well, basically, as you can clearly see just by looking at the statistics and the graphs that show you all the information regarding the fact that Darius took the money. Yes, he is the big baddie in this game, who would have thought?
Croc.
There are 4 bosses in the game, or rather they are called the rivals. Each rival controls a territory on the map. You can challenge any rival first, it really depends on which car you start with. Kenji has an RX-7, which means the Bushido team specializes in tuners, and you can challenge him first if you choose the tuner starter. Wolf drives a DB9, so he's into exotic cars, may God help his poor soul, and if you chose an exotic starter car, you can challenge him first. Angie, she likes muscles, so she probably hates me, but she also likes muscle cars. And I hate her laugh. Then there's Darius, the big boy, with the Audi R8, also an exotic, which automatically makes it the worst boss car ever. I'm just kidding, I actually love his car. But anyway, if you have conquered all 3 other territories, you can challenge Darius to a rival battle. Speaking of which, every rival battle has 2 parts. First is a regular circuit, then there is a canyon duel. A canyon duel is basically a one-on-one race that is divided into 2 segments. During the first segment, you have to follow the boss until the finish line, and you gain points based on how close you are to them. Then during the second segment, the boss will follow you on the same route, and the closer they are to you, the more points you are going to lose from the ones you gained during the first segment. But you can skip the second segment if in the first one you were able to overtake the boss and manage to keep your car in front of them for 10 seconds, or if you manage to push them off the cliff. You start the game with the M3 and then you lose it in the first 10 minutes of the game, after which you will never see it again. Why?